We are here at the Prime Health Summit. It's an honor to be with Alan Curtis, Program Director at Innosphere. Welcome.
Thank you.
So why don't we start out with Innosphere? Tell
Sure.
us what that is. Tell us everything we need to know.
Sure. First, thanks for having me. Excited to be working with, participating in the Startup Health Program. Innosphere is an 18-year-old 501c3 technology incubator. It's a mouthful. What does that mean? About 20 years ago, the city of Fort Collins saw the boom, bust, the dot-com era, decided to add some structure to supporting startup companies. Flash forward 2 years later, our organization, still very much focused on economic development, supports startup companies across 4 different industry areas. I'm the program director of the Digital Health Program. We have a life sciences program, basically covers anything that touches FDA, so think med device, biologics. We have an energy and advanced materials, so think oil, gas, water, electricity, anything in the energy sphere. And then fourth, we have an enterprise software bucket, which is sort of a catch-all. Across those 4 industry verticals, we get about 100, 200 applications from Colorado-based startup companies. We screen like crazy, like a lot of the other successful incubators and accelerators. We bring on cohorts. So we have 2 cohorts of 10, 8 to 10.
2 a year? 2
Correct.
cohorts
Yep.
a year.
One in the spring, one in the fall. And we work these guys hard when they first come on. So we have an onboarding process. It's about 2 months. So it's almost like we have an accelerator within an incubator. So once they clear that 2-month onboarding process, then we support them for 18, 24 months.
Okay.
And we do everything that company needs to be successful. So you might think about it as if we remove roadblocks, whether that's building your team, raising money, service providers, access to customers, market intelligence, market research. We provide that all over the last 18 years. I think we've just about done everything a startup can really ask for. In my role at Innosphere, Digital Health Program, it's 2.5 years old. So
And you moved out here about 2.5 years ago.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. So I was in Chicago suburbs, really trying to get to the mountains, trying to figure out how to find the quality of life.
So what's better, the suburbs or the mountains?
The suburbs are not the place to grow a entrepreneurial ecosystem. Very diplomatic, and I'll leave it there. So I landed in Fort Collins. Reason I didn't land in Denver is there was, as you may have seen, Denver is one of the fastest growing places for millennials, which means as a incoming millennial, highest rate of competition, hardest to stand out, hardest to be a bigger fish in such a huge pond. So I went to Fort Collins, and I did my master's in public health through the Colorado School of Public Health, and through that experience, I learned I love academia, but the pace at which I want to create change is not aligned with the academic pace. Very diplomatic as well there. So I found Innosphere, and I poked and prodded at the leadership at Innosphere. Where's the digital health program? Let's get something going. 2.5 years later, we've got a thrilling and very successful digital health program here in Colorado.
Congratulations, and the ecosystem is really booming as well. I mean, I would say statewide there's a palpable energy around digital health, around cross-pollination with life sciences, biotech, and others too. What's going on here? Why is the ecosystem booming, and what's still needed?
Sure. So it's the why Colorado question. I've spent a fair bit of time looking into why Silicon Valley or why Boston, and looking at the research. I'm sure you Startup Health, you've done the same research paths. And what you find is a lot of folks claiming it's the California do not compete laws, or it's the Boston and Delaware corporate governance laws. That's not what's going on in Colorado. It's not the institutions or the structures. I think it's about the transplants. It's about the folks like myself who are moving here from out of town. I'd wager a guess that if you went to the next Colorado Digital Health event and you asked who's new, who's been here for 2.5 years, you would see half of the hands in the room go up, or 3 years, 4 years, whatever. And so when you have this incoming group of folks, we all know that we need to add value first. And we all know we don't have a name here and that we don't have a network here. And so the best way to do that is to say yes and. How can I help? What can I do? When Liz from Startup Health came to town, I think she did a phenomenal job of getting an asset map of what's going on in Colorado. And the reason that was so easy here is because every person you sit down with says, yes, I can help, and here's what I can do for you. And that's evidenced by me landing here and 2 years later having a conversation with you, Unity, coming to Colorado and finding your way to chat with you about it. It's only because of that attitude, yes and. So I think you guys have batteries included.
Batteries included.
Yeah.
It's great when everyone in the ecosystem is thinking that way. It adds energy to the environment. What are some lessons learned? You at Innosphere spend lots of time. You see what's working, what's not working. What do entrepreneurs need to know about building here?
Yeah, sure.
In particular, digital health entrepreneurs.
Sure. So I'll answer that in two ways. The first question you asked, Ron, was trends. One of the trends that I think is taking hold in Colorado is a focus on harder healthcare problems like rev cycle management, operational efficiency, referral management, and not necessarily the more consumer
things that are about the system, fixing the system.
You've got to roll up your sleeves and you've got to understand the full billing continuum, and you've got to understand how ICD-10 and DRG codes interface. I mean, it is, and you're finding a more technical entrepreneur base. We've got folks coming out of the iTriage team that sold to Aetna that was in the thick of it with the insurer. Now they're all back. The iTriage mafia is back, and now they're going after these hard problems because they've seen the insider's perspective. We also have a lot of physicians that are, again, going after the hard problems. We're working with a few people few physicians at Innosphere who have worked 20 years running a practice, radiology, primary care, trying to solve a specific billing issue, specific rev cycle issue, and they work with us at Innosphere to commercialize that. So that's one trend. The second interesting part about Colorado is historically we've been pretty scrappy with access to capital. I think with an organization like Startup Health coming to town, that's certainly changing favorably in the right direction. But over the last 5-10 years, raising capital in Colorado was an art, not a science, and that's forced people to bootstrap and be scrappy and leverage grants. We have a core competency here in Colorado leveraging non-dilutive capital. And so the intersection of focusing on these hard technical problems that aren't as sexy, it's hard to do a pitch on them in 5 minutes, and this more scrappy entrepreneur base is leading to some battle-ready companies. I think that logic is probably why your organization is here, help elevate some of those companies.
Yeah, I mean, I think we just see such a vibrant hub here, and one of the things we are really excited to do is cross-pollinate what's going on here, the amazing assets going on here with some of the other innovation hubs around the world. And imagine what we can do when we start connecting the dots and connecting everyone together. It's just a magic moment. It really is. But what a great place to be. What a great place to be an entrepreneur. Great lifestyle. Sounds like that was part of the reason you moved out here. Health is a part of the culture here. All the people talk about it. You go outside, there's sunshine, there's mountains, there's fresh air. What do you do to stay healthy?
Sure. Well, you'll remember this interview because I'm the one sick person at the healthcare event, the healthcare podcast. The Colorado community is a prolific outdoorsman. Every person you chat with has either climbed a 14er or they're fly fishing this weekend. So there's a physical health aspect that's important. I like to climb something steep once a week. But I think it's really the emotional and social side, or emotional, mental side of health that is just starting to become a talking point in the entrepreneurship community. Working with some of these...
It's so hard.
Yeah.
And to do alone.
Yeah.
And to be on that journey for years and years. I mean, you could go crazy.
Yep.
And we're seeing that. I'm sure you see this a lot with a lot of depression with entrepreneurs.
Yep. And in my role at Innosphere, at any given time, I'm supporting 8, 9, 10 companies. And so it's one half helping them fundraise, get to market, but the other half it's therapist.
Yeah.
Your wife said, "What to you about the company?
Right.
You want to break up with your founder." And so I bear a lot of that weight and brunt of those harder emotional issues. And so I've had to adopt this growth mindset and mentors like Mike Pacelli here in our community has really helped me understand this yes and growth mindset. So for me, a part of the health is every day at the end of the day when companies are imploding or companies are growing or entrepreneurship is crazy, just reflecting and on what you have in that moment and gratitude. And I'm in the most beautiful place in the world with access to incredible people. What have I got to be depressed about? And I find that just helps recenter me from a emotional framework.
Wonderful. Well, Alan, glad you're in this ecosystem, and thanks for all that you do and Innosphere does to support entrepreneurs, and also your focus on digital health. So hope to spend a lot more time with you.
Thank you, sir. Excited to have you here.